Chapter 8.4 Midsegments of Triangles. Segmentos medio de un triángulo. The midsegment of a triangle is a line segment that connects the midpoints of two sides of the triangle. So if you look right here at this first diagram, the midsegment is this line right here in the middle. So first of all, notice that the midsegment is parallel to the bottom of the triangle. How do I know it's parallel? Because of this arrow right here. That means parallel. This arrow and this arrow are telling you that those two lines are parallel. So the midsegment is parallel to the bottom of the triangle. Now the reason it's called the midsegment is because it's connecting the midpoint of this side to the midpoint of the other side. The midpoint is the point in the middle. So if we look at this side, point E is in the middle of side CB. So that means that the segment from C to E is equal in length to the segment from E to B. They're congruent. So CE is equal to EB. Their length. And if we look at the other side, it's the same thing. Point D is in the middle of side AC. So that means that the length of segment DC, I'll put two lines, the length of segment DC is equal or congruent to the length of segment DA. All right? That's how we know that this point is exactly in the middle of side AC and point E is exactly in the middle of side CB. So if we look at the definition again, it should make more sense. The midsegment of a triangle is a line segment that connects the midpoints of two sides of the triangle. So it's connecting the midpoints of the two sides. If you look at this photo in the middle, what they want you to see is this triangle right here on the side. The midsegment is this line right here in the middle. Midsegments are often used to add rigidity to structures. Now, one more thing I want to look at, which is right here. It says every triangle has three midsegments. So now let's look at this diagram over here. Let's look at this one. All right, so if you look here, look at these three lines. These are the three midsegments of the triangle. If we look at the triangle with X, point X being at the top, the way it is now, point X is at the top and this is the bottom, then the midsegment would be this line right here. Segment AB would be the midsegment. And how do I know that? Look at these dashes on the side. The three dashes are telling you that segment XB is equal in length to segment BZ. All right, so that means that point B is exactly in the middle. Same thing on the other side. The one line here and the one line here is telling you that segment XA is equal in length to segment AY. So point A is exactly in the middle. Okay, however, now let's look at it like, let's look at it as if Y is the top and this line right here is the bottom, side XZ. If we look at it that way, then the mid segment is this line right here, segment AC. That would be the mid segment. Okay, because it's connecting point A. Again, notice that point A is in the middle of this side. How do I know that? Because of this line and this line. It's connecting point A, which is the midpoint of this side, to point C, which is the midpoint of this side, YZ. And how do I know it's the midpoint? Because these lines are telling you that segment YC is congruent to segment CZ. So this point is exactly in the middle. And then the third midsegment would be if I look at it like point Z is the top and side XY is the bottom. Then the midsegment would be this line right here, which is connecting point B, which is the midpoint of this side, to point C, which is the midpoint of this side. And remember, always the midsegment is parallel to the bottom of the triangle. Let me repeat that in Spanish. El segmento medio de un triángulo es un segmento que une los puntos medios de los lados del triángulo. Okay, así que en este triángulo, en el primer triángulo de aquí, el segmento medio sería esta línea Fíjense que la línea es paralelo a el lado que está abajo del triángulo. Eso es lo que significa esta flecha y esta flecha, que son paralelos, las dos líneas. Ahora, el segmento medio está conectando los puntos medios de dos lados del triángulo. Así que en este diagrama, el punto E es el punto medio del lado CB. Eso quiere decir, si el punto E es el punto medio, eso quiere decir que el segmento CE es congruente al segmento EB. Los dos miden igual, si este punto está en el medio. Y la misma cosa en el otro lado. El punto D es el punto medio del lado AC. Si ese es el punto medio, eso quiere decir que el segmento DC tiene que ser congruente al segmento AD. Los dos miden igual. Ahora, cada triángulo tiene tres segmentos medios. ¿Ok? Cada triángulo tiene tres segmentos medios. Si miramos aquí a este diagrama, si lo miramos como si X está el punto de arriba del triángulo y este es el lado abajo, entonces el segmento medio sería AB. Si lo miramos como si el punto Y está arriba y este es el lado que está abajo, el segmento medio sería AC, porque está conectando los puntos medios de los dos lados. Y si lo miramos como si el punto Z está arriba y el lado XY está abajo, el segmento medio sería segmento BC, porque está conectando el punto medio B al punto medio C. All right, so now let's look at some actual problems. There is a formula, a very simple formula that you need to know. It's the triangle midsegment theorem. The triangle midsegment theorem states that the segment joining the midpoints of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side, and its length is half the length of that side. All right, let me draw an easy example here that'll make it super easy to understand. Here's my triangle. Here's my my midsegment. Okay, so let me add some numbers, okay? So let's say the midsegment measures 4 centimeters or 4 whatever. Okay, the base or the third side is going to be 8. The midsegment is always half of the third side. Let me say that better. Yeah, it's always, the midsegment is always half of the line at the bottom, or half of the side at the bottom. And the side at the bottom is always double the midsegment. Okay, so another way to say what I just said, because you're going to have different problems like this, which we'll see in a second. If the midsegment is x, this is going to be 2x. If I give you the line at the bottom and tell you that this is 10, that means the midsegment has to be 5. You follow me? So the midsegment is always half of the bottom side, and the bottom side is always double the midsegment. That's easy to remember. And I'll show you some problems, and because they're gonna try to make it confusing, but it's basically that. If you understood that, that's all you need to know for this chapter. Let me just say that in Spanish before I do the first example. El teorema de segmentos medios de un triángulo dice que el segmento que está uniendo los puntos medios de dos lados de un triángulo es paralelo al tercer lado y el largo es la mitad del largo de ese lado. Ok, para explicarlo más fácil, si miran lo que dibujé aquí, el segmento medio siempre va a ser la mitad de la línea que está paralelo al segmento medio. Así que si el segmento medio es 4, la línea paralela, el lado paralelo sería el doble, que es 8. Así que déjame decirlo mejor. El segmento medio siempre es la mitad de este lado y este lado siempre es doble del segmento medio. Así que si el segmento medio es 4, este lado sería 8. Si el segmento medio es X, este lado sería 2X. Si te dan el lado abajo del triángulo y te dicen que es 10 y tienen que encontrar el segmento medio tiene que coger la mitad de 10, que sería 5. Ok, vamos a mirar el primer ejemplo aquí. All right, so look at the first example. Find UW. UW is this line. Tenemos que encontrar UW. By the triangle midsegment theorem. Okay, instead of reading all that, look. We got to find how long is the midsegment. So look at the line parallel to it. Look at the line parallel to it, which is this one right here. Look how long it is. It says right here that it's 10.2. It's 10.2. So the midsegment has to be half of 10.2, which is what they did right here. UW equals half of 10.2. If you divide 10.2 by 2, you're going to get the answer, which is 5.1. Tenemos que encontrar el largo del segmento UW. Así que aquí está UW. Miren la línea que es paralela al segmento medio. ¿Ok? Este lado te está diciendo que mide 10.2. Así que el segmento medio tiene que ser la mitad de ese lado. Así que tienen que dividir 10.2 por 2, que te va a dar 5.1. Let's look at letter B. Complete the reasoning to find the measure of angle SVU. SVU. All right. We got to find the measure of this angle right here. SVU. Or you know what? Let me just put this line. Tenemos que encontrar la medida de ángulo SVU. Okay, give me 1 second. All right, so it says that right here segment UW is parallel to segment ST. Okay, and the reasoning for that would be the triangle midsegment theorem. Sorry, I wrote it kind of sloppy there. Tenemos que tenemos que encontrar la medida de ángulo SVU y quieren saber la razón por qué segmento UW es paralelo al segmento ST. El símbolo en el medio ahí significa paralelo. Remember that those two lines mean parallel. All right, so that reads segment UW parallel to segment ST. Okay, now look at the next one. The measure of angle SVU is equal to the measure of angle VUW. That is alternate interior angles theorem. Okay, if you forgot what that means, I'll remind you right now. Alternate interior angle theorem. When you have two parallel lines, in this case they're like that. When you have two parallel lines that are being cut by a transversal, this angle is going to equal the measure of this angle. They are alternate interior angles. Cuando tienen dos líneas paralelas y hay un transversal que está intersectando las dos líneas, este ángulo mide igual que este ángulo. Ya eso lo hicimos en un capítulo anterior. El alternate interior angles theorem. El teorema de ángulos internos que están al lados alternos del transversal. Okay, and last thing they want us to do is, give me 1 second. I'm not sure what they're asking for here, so I'm just going to put the answer. Oh, all right, I had basically already figured it out, but they wanted us to say that since this angle equals this angle, you got to put 41 here. I didn't put any questions like that, like this on your homework, so I'm just going over it because I put it in here. All right, so that takes care of that. Let's go to all right, these are the types of problems you're going to see on your homework, okay? Estos son los tipos de problemas que tienen en la tarea. So we got to find each measure, encontrar cada medida. So first we got to find xy. So here's xy. Aquí está xy. All right, so look at the line parallel to it. Miren la línea paralelo al segmento xy. It's 15.8. So xy has to be half of 15.8. Okay, tiene que ser xy tiene que ser la mitad de 15.8. Así que tiene que dividir por 2. You got to divide 15.8 by 2. So 15.8 divided by 2 is going to be 7.9. All right, 7.9. All right, number 7, BZ. All right, BZ is right here. Okay, Tenemos que encontrar la medida del segmento BZ. All right, now look. If this entire side, it says right here that this entire side is 15.8. Este lado completo es 15.8. And these three lines tell you that this is the midpoint, okay? And that this segment BZ is congruent to segment ZC. Estas tres líneas nos están diciendo que el punto Z está en el medio, así que el segmento BZ es congruente al segmento ZC. So all you got to do is divide 15.8 by 2, and that'll tell you what BZ is. Tenemos que dividir 15.8 por 2 para saber cuánto mide el segmento BZ. Did I just do that? I think I did. All right, so anyways, it's also 7.9, right? So that's the same answer that we had for number 6, okay? Es la misma respuesta que el número 6. All right, so number 8, AX. Okay, so look, AX is right there. All right, so it's a little bit like they wrote these numbers too close to each other, so it might look a little bit confusing. But if you look at the mid segment, if this is the bottom side, look at this mid segment. It measures 4.6. It measures 4.6. El segmento medio mide 4.6. Escribieron estos números un poco demasiado cerca, pero este número 4.6 es la medida de este segmento. All right, so if this one measures 4.6, that means this entire line is double 4.6, or as you just saw, like in the previous example, each one of these segments is going to be 4.6. You could think about it that way as well. So again, in case anybody got confused by that, let me draw over here real quick. Because I kind of I'm showing you a little shortcut you could do on some of these questions. If this mid segment is 4.6, that means that the line parallel to it, or the side parallel to it, which is this one, is going to be 4.6 times 2, which is 9.2. And if they're asking us to get like how much is each one of these segments, it's got to be 9.2 divided by 2, which takes us back to this number. Each one of these segments is 4.6. So AX has to equal 4.6. Si el segmento medio mide 4.6, eso quiere decir que este lado que es paralelo al segmento medio tiene que ser el doble de 4.6, que sería 9.2. Pero si ahora quieren saber cuánto mide cada uno de estos segmentos al otro lado del punto medio, tiene que ser la mitad de 9.2, que también es este número, 4.6 y 4.6. Así que eso es una manera más rápida de hacer preguntas como esta. Cada de estos segmentos va a medir igual que el segmento medio. All right, let's look at number 9. The measure of angle YZC. YZC. So we got to find that angle. Very easy. This line is parallel to this line. So that means, again, the alternate interior angle theorem. This angle is going to equal this angle right here, 68 degrees. Ok, como estas dos líneas son paralelos y este es un transversal, eso quiere decir que por el teorema de ángulos internos alternos, este ángulo tiene que medir igual que este ángulo, así que los dos son 68 grados. And last one, the measure of angle BXY. BXY, so this one, we're looking for this one right here. Estamos buscando para este ángulo. Let me just think real quick. What's the easiest way to do this one? Okay, got it. Wait, I think I got it. All right, so look. I have the answer. I'm not sure if this is the quickest way, but look. If this angle is 68, we already said that this angle right here is also 68 degrees. Okay, now if we look at it like, hold on. All right, so in the triangle, let me draw a little picture here. That awkward moment when you actually got to think out the problem while you're recording the video. All right. Okay, so that awkward moment when you got to think about how to do the problem while you're doing the video, so you got to stall. And I'm just kidding, a little bit. All right, so look, The mid-segment, this line is parallel to this line, to the bottom of the triangle, okay? They're parallel. Estas dos líneas son paralelas. All right? And this angle is 68 degrees. So if these two lines are parallel, this is a transversal. Like if you have this, and this angle is 68 degrees, that means right here, this is a corresponding angle. So it's also 68 degrees, okay? Este ángulo también tiene que ser 68. Okay, and actually, I think I just thought of an easier way. All right, so one more thing. Right here, this is a straight line. So this 68 degrees is a linear pair with this angle right here. A linear pair means that together they add up to 180. So 68 plus what equals 180? So if I subtract 68 from 180, I'm going to get 112. All right, so this angle is 112. Okay, 112. 112, 68. You know what? I did all this for nothing. The answer is 112. I just thought of the fastest way to do it. All right, I'm not going to stop the video. Let me just keep going. All right, so I just said that this angle right here is 112, and this angle is 68. I'll tell you how I could have done this a lot faster. All right, the answer is going to be 112. Let me tell you how I could have done it faster. All right, here's the fastest way to do this one. These two lines are parallel again. Did I draw that right? Okay, so all right, now I see what I'm missing. Okay, so I have this line right here. And if this one is 68 degrees, I know I didn't draw that perfectly. If this one is 68 degrees, this one has to be its supplementary angle, which is 112. The reason why is this. Whenever you have two parallel lines and you have a transversal cutting through it, okay, these two same side interior angles are supplementary. That's what I need to say. Same side interior angles are supplementary. Look, you saw I had a little bit of a rough time there trying to picture this correctly. Okay, I was tempted to even put my laptop sideways. Okay, but I'll leave it there. I won't edit it. All right, so you can see that it could be a little confusing at times. But to repeat, whenever you have two parallel lines, which this line right here is parallel to the mid-segment, okay, and you have this transversal cutting through it. Let me draw it down here. You have this transversal coming through it. If this is 68 degrees, this angle right here has to be supplementary, because with this angle, they're supplementary, these two angles, because they're same side interior angles. Same side interior angles, which we did a couple of chapters ago. All right, so again, it took me a couple. The way I was doing it, I was going to get the right answer. There's several different ways to approach it, but I was trying to think what is the quickest way to get the answer. And I knew, until I realized that, I knew I wasn't doing it the quickest way. I was doing it a slow way. And there's even another way that you could have thought about it. You could have thought about it as a quadrilateral, but whatever. Let me not get into that. Okay, let me just repeat that in Spanish. But again, the answer for angle BXY is 112. Okay, en español lo expliqué un poquito, me trabé ahí un poco, pero la manera más rápida de pensar de este problema es como este lado es paralelo al segmento medio YZ, ¿ok? La manera más fácil de ver qué debe ser la respuesta es si se fijan que son cuando tiene dos líneas paralelas y un transversal, ¿ok? Este ángulo siempre es suplementario con eso dice 68 grados, no 68 grados. Este ángulo siempre es suplementario con el ángulo que está aquí, así que este tiene que ser 180 menos 68, que te da 112 grados. Y no me di cuenta al principio que eso era la manera más rápida de hacerlo, porque hay varias maneras de coger la respuesta. Pero eso es la manera más rápida. All right, so the answer on this one is 112 degrees. All right, moving on. All right, now this is the exact same thing, but with variables in it now. So you got to use your algebra skills, okay? Esto es lo mismo que acabamos de hacer, pero ahora tenemos variable. All right, so remember this relationship. The mid-segment, there's two ways you could do every single problem. I'll show you both ways. The mid-segment is always half of this side that's parallel to it. All right, so the mid-segment is always half of the line parallel to it. And there's another way you could write the problem and get the correct answer. This side is always double the mid-segment. I'll say it again. This side right here, this side, is always double the mid-segment. Look how you would write it that way. 48 equals 2 times the mid-segment, which is 6n. You should know it both ways because they could throw it at you in different ways. And look, now I have an option of which one do I find easier. I'll do them both, okay? So in the first one, if I do it this way, let me write a line here. By the way, let me just say that real quick in Spanish before I solve the problem. Puedo escribir el problema, la ecuación, de dos maneras diferentes y los dos me dan la misma respuesta. Deben entender las dos maneras. La primera manera es el segmento medio siempre es la mitad de este lado. Y eso es lo que escribí. 6n es igual a la mitad, 1 sobre 2 multiplicado por 48. Y la otra manera de escribirlo sería este lado siempre es el doble del segmento medio. Así que 48 es igual a 2 por 6n. Ahora puedo escoger cuál prefiero hacer. Okay, si lo hago, lo voy a hacer de las dos maneras. Alright, so if I do it this way, 6n equals half of 48 is 24. And now n equals 24 divided by 6. By the way, to get half of a number, just divide it by 2. I know that's common sense, but just in case anybody needs me to say that. Para coger la mitad de un número, se divide el número por 2. Alright, so n equals 4. And that's my answer. If I do it this way, 48 equals 2 times 6n is 12n. So n equals 48 divided by 12. So n is going to equal 4. They both give you the same answer. All right, now let's look at number 12. All right, so I could write 11.3 equals half of n plus 4.2. Or I could write n plus 4.2 equals 2 times 11.3. Okay? Now look, let me give you a little technique. I've said it before. To use with that fraction that makes it a lot easier. You could do the distributive property if you want, but that's going to make it more complicated. The quickest way to get rid of that fraction is to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. That's actually not difficult, right? Because I'm sure I could just imagine a bunch of you guys saying in your mind, forget it, man, that's too much work, let's do the other one. But I'm just saying, that's really not that much work, right? Just multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is easy. That just means multiply this side by 2. If I multiply this side by 2, I'm going to get 22.6. La manera más fácil de quitar esa fracción es multiplicar los dos lados por el recíproco, 2 sobre 1, que es lo mismo que 2. Así que esto se cancela y en el otro lado estoy multiplicando 2 por 11.3, que me da 22.6. So now I got n plus 4.2. I'm telling you, that's not that hard. It's not a big deal. Now subtract 4.2 from both sides. Alright, so n equals 18.4. If I do it this way, I'll have n plus 4.2 equals 22.6. Yeah, this way is easier, at least for now. But you should understand both ways. They both give me the same answer. All right, 2 more examples and we'll be done with this lesson, all right? Wait, what? Oh, I forgot that I forgot that I erased the work for number 11, and I thought I wrote that number 11 was 18.4. Okay, all right, my bad. All right, moving on. So there are the answers. All right, so here's number 13. Same thing. We got these 2 examples, and I'm done. All right, so the first way I could write it is n plus 12 equals half of 6n, oops, half of 6n, or I could write it 6n equals double n plus 12. If you forget how to write it, just imagine an easy example with 4 and 8 or something, or 5 and 10. Si se le olvida cómo escribir la ecuación, piensen de un ejemplo fácil, con números fáciles como 4 y 8 o 5 y 10. Y así pueden recordarse cuál es doble y cuál es la mitad. That way you could remember which side is double, which side is half. Alright, anyways, so n plus 12 equals 3n. Now I'll move this n over here and subtract it. So 2n equals 12. So n equals 12 divided by 2. So n equals 6. And over here, 6n equals distributive property. 2n plus 24. Subtract 2n, subtract 2n. So 4n equals 24. N equals 24 divided by 4. N equals 6. Alright, and last one, number 14. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Alright, hit the wrong button. Okay, anyways. Alright, so number 14, I could either write 4n plus 9 equals half of 14n. Or I could write 14n equals 2 times 4n plus 9. So if I do it this way, half of 14n is 7n. Now move 4n this way. And we're going to have 3n equals 9. So n equals 9 divided by 3. So n equals 3. And if you do it this way, do the distributive property. So 14n equals 8n plus 18. Subtract 8n from both sides. And you're going to have 6n equals 18. So n equals 18 divided by 6. So n equals 3. Alright, they both give me the same answer. There are your answers. Alright guys, that concludes today's lesson. Your assignment is in the student portal. And it's due by 6 a.m. the next day you have my class. And I hope this lesson was pretty short and easy. So appreciate it, because next class we're going to start reviewing for your mid-year assessment. For your next exam, which covers everything we've done from the beginning of the year until now. Okay? So keep that in mind, because next class we're going to probably take up the entire class time reviewing. Alright? Esta tarea era corta, pero la próxima clase vamos a empezar a repasar para el próximo examen que cubre todo lo que hemos hecho desde el principio del año hasta ahora. Y tienen hasta las 6 de la mañana del próximo día que tienen mi clase para entregar esta tarea. Alright guys, hope you have a great day, and I'll see you guys next class.